How do you pick the right GT3 car in Le Mans Ultimate? In this video, we'll break down every GT3 car, the positives, the negatives, and the skill level needed to drive them optimally. I've been sim racing for multiple years and have built all the setups of these cars, and this guide is gonna help you to choose your favorite one. And for which is truly fastest? That answer depends on a secret I will share at the end of this video. Let's get into it. But before we dive in, this guide is update proof. I've been building these setups, I've been driving this car through all these updates, and the character of the cars just stays the same, even though BOP or physics changes might change. And a special shout out to our community and Patreon and all supporters that gave me input to create a very good list. Let's go to the first car. Let's start off with the best beginner car. It is absolutely safe, very forgiving, and through every update, this car basically has stayed the same. It's very safe on entry, it's great on exit, and it's pretty much competitive and chosen a lot. Now, if you are on a fixed series, this is a very good car, but it's even more interesting when you're going to open setups and start making this car really aggressive. In that way, it's still really forgiving and crazy quick. It does kind of get boring at times if you are driving a BMW, and so is everyone else. I mean, I normally don't get a really special feeling from that. So this is basically the summary of the BMW. Let's go to the next one. Another very safe choice is the Merc. It's stable, consistent, and when you're running open setup, it's actually really good on aerodynamic performance in fast corners. I also consider this car to be very easy to drive and also very beginner friendly. It doesn't surprise you on the entry, but there's a little bit of a problem on when you exit corners. You really need to be trail braking this car and really be gentle on the throttle, especially when you're running a bit higher traction control values, because this car just wants to understeer. And another thing, the community said that this long ass hood is kind of blocking the view for your apexes. So that's also something to consider. Overall, it is a very good all-round car, and I think if you would choose this for a season, you can't really go wrong with this car. And if you're liking this content this far, could you please hit that like button? That really helps me out, and consider subscribing. And check out my setup store down below. I have setups for all of these cars, and they're split up in base setups for skill levels. So if you're a beginner, we'll have a very safe Merc for you, but if you're advancing through your experience, you can pick higher levels that will be more twitchy, that will gain more lap time. So check the link down below. Let's move on. The next car will be the Porsche 992 or 911 or 991. I'm not sure actually. Anyways, let me know in the comments what it actually is. I'm confused. When you don't want to pick a BMW, when you don't want to pick a Merc, and you want rotation and you want a backhand that actually steps out every time you're entering a corner or having an apex, then this is a car for you. It absolutely will rotate, but in a good way. If you can handle a Porsche, then you'll be an absolute rock star in these slow and mid corners, because you will have such a rotational freedom because of the rear engine. Though, because of the inertia of the rear engine on the fast corner exit, you might suffer some understeer, and on a straight lines with tracks like Le Mans or Monza, we need to take off that rear wing, and then this car could become potentially really dangerous. But if you're skilled enough, then this is an absolute great car, and I've been overtaken a lot by this car, especially on the slow and mid corners. This car might be the best all-rounder in the field. It's pretty much fast everywhere. It works on every track, and whenever you get into a lobby, there will always be a Ferrari, and they're almost always on top of the list, so, or like on the top of the standings. Many drivers have called this the most complete car because of its combination of agility and consistency. But it does come with kind of a personality. You need to shift gears early, like not... I'm even at this point, I don't want to even see the red lights in the display. It can sometimes surprise you on the oversteer, so like a pitch death, you know, you brake, you steer, and then all of a sudden the rear end comes loose and you lose control. This is something you want to be aware of when you're driving the Ferrari. Overall, really good all-rounder car. Through all the updates, this was basically a very solid mid-engine choice. Let's get to the next car. Now, the next car isn't included in the 2025 season, but I think I should mention this car anyways. And what I basically boil it down to when you're driving the Lambo or the Lamborghini is that it's just a difficult version of the Ferrari. It is just more tail happy and it kind of wants to kill you a little bit faster than the Ferrari. I think especially on the mid-corner speed, this car absolutely thrives. It can be really quick. I also found it might be a bit slower on the straights compared to the other cars. And overall, yeah, you just get more badass points for driving this car instead of the Ferrari. So as you can see below, the experience level starts. You need a bit more experience to drive this car consistently and safely throughout longer stints and endurance races. And yeah, you also have this amazing engine that I really like about this car. Next on the list, by the way, they are not in a particular order, there's just random through each other, but if you wanted to get from a front engine to a mid-engine car, so you want the least amount of transition, then this car will be your best beginner car as of for the mid-engine. But a lot of people are not picking this car anymore, especially on the fixed series I've seen, because it just drives trash on the fixed setup. What I did found, however, when you're absolutely tuning this out properly, it gets a lot more fun, and you can, especially on the high wing, you can run some rake and you get immediately rotation and playful behavior in this car. It is also the safest mid-engine car. What I also found is that when you're on mid-engine and you're on throttle, this car is sometimes a bit understeery on the throttle. It doesn't really matter which differential settings or rear suspension settings you pick, it kind of wants to go in a straight line as soon as you put the foot down. Overall, if I was choosing this car, I would choose it for its consistency, safety. As for a mid-engine car, I think it's the best one if you're less experienced. Sometimes it seems like it's not always the fastest, but yeah, you're not gonna be fastest if you put it into the walls every time, and this car would really help you with that. Now, if you wanted the challenge and you want the risks for putting yourself into the wall, you should go with the Corvette. If you drive the Corvette, you will be an absolute legend. But the Chevy is only hard when you have a wrong setup, and it's very easy to have the wrong setup with this car. If you tune it out perfectly, you get a really compliant and safe car. But this car is just very understeery on the high speed, and if you're trying to tune it out, it gets very oversteery. So you want to make a car balance that sits exactly right on the aerodynamics and then creates safety on the mid and slow corners. When you achieve this, you get an absolute rocket ship in the slow corners. It's really fast like that. I've been in lobbies with this car on different open series, and nobody picks this car, and I can be absolutely competitive with this one on a lot of variety of different tracks. But take note, it is unforgiving. You need to use your brain and you need to understand grip buildup in a tire to fully understand load transfer and all that good stuff. But once you dial that in, I think you can really learn from this car. So pick it every now and then. you know, because it's really rewarding, especially the engine sound. I also believe it's just the best looking car on the grid, but that's just me. What do you think of this video this far? Could you please let me know in the comments what is your favorite car, and add some quirks to this list, because I will also put in the pinned comment a newsletter if we can find some updates, or I will show like an overall newsletter about these cars as the game continues, so have a look. What about the Ford then? Compared to the other front engine cars, I think this is the third one as of for difficulty, but it's also really safe. And I also found on the Ford that when you set up a proper aero balance with high wing, it's really fast and like straightforward in fast corners, but this car just doesn't want to react to your steering input. So as soon as you hit the steering wheel, kind of nothing happens, and then it starts turning. So with this car, you need to be a little bit looking advanced. Let's say you see an apex, you need to steer this car just a little bit earlier than other cars, because this is just this American muscle kind of a character that is just not, even though it's a GT3 car, there's still some America in there somehow. No offense to the Americans. Okay, so then there's also a little bit of this death understeer in slow corners, and then when you finally get rid of the apex and you can exit the corner, it kind of wants to snap on you as well. Obviously, having proper traction control settings, think like 6, 8, 10, can really help you out, but then also you're gonna be a bit slower. Anyways, it's just a safe pick. And I think, like, it's not super popular at the moment, but I think you cannot really go wrong with this car. But it is kind of numb, and at times it might feel a little bit boring too. But overall, I think this one is also really good looking. Used to be my all-time favorite car, the Aston Martin Vantage GT3, but it's actually really good on the brakes. This is something that it's really surprised me. If you outbrake someone, you need to do it with the Aston. It's absolutely wild on braking performance, and all of its character of this car just says I want to brake, but because on the throttle it's really twitchy, and on the cold tires it is an absolute disaster. So in a way, it's kind of an interesting car. I found that with setting up this car, there's a lot of like a variety on how fast you're gonna be on different tracks. I've seen it's very inconsistent. So I would like to see from Le Mans Ultimate that they like make some consistency there, because it feels to me that there's something happening in the game that this car suffers from. But then again, as for baseline front engine car, I think it's still, when you got the tires in the proper window, it's absolutely a very good car. I think the vision in this car is the worst of all of them. So if you're in the cockpit, like the view you have on track is absolutely the worst in this car. But I do really like this car just for its braking performance. And I did a race recently on Le Mans, and it's absolutely fast on straights compared to other ones. It's hard to overtake this car. So yeah, but that might be changed through different BOP, so it's not really something you want to take from this video. Basically, also pretty much all-round front engine car, twitchy on the throttle, very good braking performance. So last but absolutely not least, and that will be the Lexus. And I think that the Lexus is the hardest front engine car, and that would be like the same difficulty than let's say a Ferrari, because it kind of surprises you on the entry. But the races that I did, I was like always having a hard time keeping up with a Lexus. So as for fast corner behavior, I think it might be somewhat understeery, and then when you are in the mid and slow corners, it kind of rotates nicely. Obviously in the slow corners, this is still a front engine car, so there will be always this little bit of this understeer, but overall I think this is an absolute fun car. There's a lot more play, so basically see it as a difficult BMW or a difficult Merc in a way, but with better engine sound. And again, this very subjective engine sounds. I think this is an absolute monster as well. And if I would, I don't know, if I would pick a car from this list to be for a whole season, I think this would be my go-to car. I think this is looking great. I think it's acting, it handles nicely, but it does require a little bit more precision than the other front engine cars, but that's just something I really like. So what is the secret between these cars being the fastest? And I think, as for now, as time of recording, that the tire temperatures of these cars are really influential on how fast your car setup and how fast you're going to be overall. So I've seen some cars, they heat up the tires way more quickly than others, and especially when you're on cold conditions or you have a situation where you need to switch tires and you need to heat them up, or you have qualifying sessions that you just need to heat up tires more, some cars will do it way quicker than others. At the time of recording, you have no influence on this. You cannot close the brake ducts, you cannot run tow values or change up camber values to create additional heat in the tires. The only thing you can do is really push the car, but you also wear the tires like that. So in a way, sometimes when a car is understeery and the limit on how far your steering input needs to be, on that way you can have some sort of an influence on tire heat. But as for now, if you see cars that have especially slow on certain tracks, it's not because these cars are slow in general. If they all have the proper temperatures, I think they're very close and very narrow to each other. But I think that the differences you'll see is it's about the tire temperature. So let's hope and pray and absolutely demand that we can have more influence on tire wear and tire heat, so we can actually have a more closed field. Instead of having this track, everyone picks a BMW, to another track, everyone picks a Ferrari, bruh. So, to summarize all of this, a fast and safe pick will be BMW, Ferrari, Lexus is always pretty quick, and for the rest, like sometimes there's some variance there. Now I'll be building a video, everything you need to know on tire heat, tire wear, how tires act, how to heat them up, how to cool them down, all that stuff. And when that video is ready, it's gonna take a while, it's gonna be over here. Thanks for watching.